My dear brothers and sisters, in a world that constantly tries to define the value of a woman through appearance, attention, and temporary standards, many have forgotten a timeless truth. A woman is not ordinary. Her heart carries compassion that comforts others. Her patience carries strength that often goes unseen. Her presence carries peace that many people silently depend on. Islam did not come to reduce the value of a woman. Islam came to protect her dignity, to honor her character, and to remind the world that her worth is far greater than what society often measures. A woman is not sacred because people praise her. A woman is sacred because Allah gave her honor. When a woman understands her value, she no longer feels the need to chase acceptance. She no longer allows people to define her worth. She begins to walk with dignity, knowing that her respect begins from within. Today, we reflect on powerful lessons that reveal the truth behind why a woman holds such a special place and why protecting her dignity protects the peace of society itself. One, Allah created a woman with honor. Beloved brothers and sisters, when Allah creates something, it is never without purpose. Every creation of Allah carries wisdom, balance, and meaning that often goes far beyond what we immediately understand. A woman was not created randomly, nor was she created without significance. Allah created her with unique qualities that bring stability to families, compassion to relationships, and mercy to society. Her presence is not small, and her role is not ordinary. Within her, Allah has placed emotional depth, patience, care, and resilience that allows her to carry responsibilities that are often unseen by the world. A woman often feels deeply, and this depth is not a weakness as some people wrongly assume. Her ability to feel deeply allows her to understand pain, offer comfort, and support others during moments of hardship. When a child is hurt, it is often the mother who feels that pain first. When a family is facing difficulty, it is often the woman who quietly thinks of solutions, sacrifices her own comfort, and continues to remain strong for the sake of others. Allah has placed within her a natural ability to nurture, to care, and to protect emotional bonds that hold families together. Many sacrifices made by women go unnoticed. Many efforts remain unappreciated. A woman may stay awake at night worried about the well-being of those she loves, yet she does not complain. She may put aside her own struggles so that others feel supported. She may forgive repeatedly because she values peace over conflict. These are not signs of weakness, rather, these are signs of emotional strength that Allah has placed within her heart. Her patience allows her to endure challenges while still maintaining kindness. Her compassion allows her to soften situations that might otherwise become harsh. Her sincerity allows her to give without always expecting recognition. These qualities are not accidental. They are part of the honor that Allah has given her. When a woman cares, she does not care halfway. She gives with sincerity, loyalty, and dedication. And this is why her presence has such a powerful impact on the lives of others. Sometimes society misunderstands emotional sensitivity and assumes that strength only exists in harshness or distance. However, true strength often exists in those who remain gentle despite experiencing hardship. A woman may face difficulties that others never fully understand, yet she continues to move forward with dignity. She continues to care even when she feels tired. She continues to give even when she receives little in return. This ability to remain sincere despite challenges is a sign of inner strength. Allah created a woman with a heart that has the ability to heal emotional wounds. Her words can bring comfort to someone who is struggling. Her presence can create peace in an environment filled with stress. Her encouragement can give hope to someone who feels lost. These qualities make her role deeply valuable. Even if the world does not always recognize it, it is important to understand that honor does not come from people's opinions. Honor comes from the value given by Allah. When Allah creates something with wisdom, it carries importance even if people fail to appreciate it. A woman does not need to prove her worth through comparison with others. Her value already exists within the qualities Allah has placed inside her. Recognizing this truth allows a woman to protect her dignity and respect herself. It allows her to understand that her patience, compassion, and sincerity are strengths that should never be seen as weaknesses. Allah has honored her with qualities that contribute to the emotional well-being of families and the moral strength of society. When a woman understands this, she begins to see herself with respect, and she no longer feels the need to reduce her value for temporary approval. A woman created with honor should also treat herself with honor. She should protect her peace, choose environments that respect her, and surround herself with people who recognize her sincerity. When she values the qualities Allah has given her, she becomes stronger internally and more confident in her purpose. Allah has placed within a woman the ability to influence hearts, to nurture growth, and to contribute positively to the lives of those around her. Her presence carries meaning and her efforts carry weight. Even when her sacrifices are not always visible, Allah sees every moment of patience, every act of sincerity, and every intention of goodness. Understanding that Allah created a woman with honor reminds us that her value does not decrease because of people's opinions. Her dignity is not dependent on validation from society. Her worth is rooted in the qualities given to her by Allah, and that worth remains constant regardless of circumstances. 2. Islam honored women before the world. Did my dear brothers and sisters, to truly understand the honor of a woman in Islam, we must first reflect on history. There was a time when many societies did not value women. In different parts of the world, women were treated unfairly, denied basic rights, and often considered less important simply because they were women. Some cultures saw daughters as a burden. Some denied women the right to inherit. Some treated women as if they had no voice in their own lives. Then Islam came and changed this reality completely. Islam did not introduce small changes. It transformed the entire mindset of society. Islam gave women dignity at a time when dignity was taken away from them. Islam gave women protection at a time when they were vulnerable. Islam gave women respect at a time when they were ignored. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear that the worth of a human being is not based on gender, wealth, or status, but on righteousness and character. This principle established balance and justice. A woman was no longer seen as someone without value. She was recognized as an important and respected member of society. Islam gave women rights that were revolutionary for their time. Islam gave women the right to own property. Islam gave women the right to inheritance. Islam gave women the right to choose their spouse. Islam gave women the right to education. Islam gave women the right to be treated with kindness and fairness. These rights were not given by society, they were given by Allah. When something comes from Allah, it carries wisdom and justice that is not influenced by changing opinions or trends. Human standards change over time, but divine guidance remains constant. The teachings of Islam emphasize that treating women with kindness is part of good character. Respect towards women is not presented as an optional act of kindness, it is presented as a responsibility. Islam teaches that goodness within a person is reflected in how they treat those who are more vulnerable or emotionally sensitive. Islam also recognized the emotional nature of women and did not dismiss it as weakness. Instead, Islam acknowledged that emotional depth brings balance to families and communities. Compassion, mercy, and care are qualities that strengthen relationships and create stability in society. When a woman is respected, families become stronger. When families become stronger, communities become healthier. When communities become healthier, society becomes more peaceful. The honor given to women in Islam is not limited to one role or one stage of life. A woman is honored as a daughter, honored as a wife, honored as a mother, and honored as an individual with her own dignity and responsibilities. As a daughter, she is treated with care and kindness. Raising a daughter with love and good values is considered a source of reward. This teaches society that daughters are not a burden but a blessing. As a wife, she is treated with respect and fairness. Marriage in Islam is not based on control but on mutual understanding, compassion, and cooperation. A healthy marriage is built on kindness, not dominance. As a mother, her status is elevated greatly. The efforts of a mother are recognized as valuable because she invests emotional, physical, and mental energy in raising the next generation. Her patience during difficult moments, her sacrifices, and her dedication are all acknowledged. Islam encourages appreciation for the efforts of women and reminds society not to take their sacrifices for granted. Many of the contributions made by women are not always visible, but their impact is significant. A society that respects women becomes more balanced because respect encourages responsibility. When women feel valued, they are more confident in contributing positively to their surroundings. When women are treated with dignity, families experience more harmony. Islam does not teach that a woman must lose her identity to gain acceptance. Instead, Islam teaches that her dignity is already established and she should not feel pressured to compromise her values in order to gain approval. The honor given to women in Islam also protects them from being reduced to superficial standards. A woman's value is not limited to appearance or temporary trends. Her character, sincerity, patience, and faith hold much greater importance. Islam encourages both men and women to interact with respect and responsibility. It teaches balance in rights and responsibilities so that neither side is oppressed nor neglected. Understanding how Islam honored women helps us realize that respect for women is not a modern idea. It is a principle that has existed within Islamic teachings for centuries. This reminder encourages us to return to values that promote dignity, fairness, and kindness. When people follow these teachings sincerely, relationships improve, trust increases, and emotional harm decreases. Respect creates an environment where individuals feel safe, appreciated, and valued. Islam honored women before the world fully recognized the importance of protecting their dignity. This shows the depth of wisdom within divine guidance. Remember that true honor does not come from temporary approval. True honor comes from values that remain strong regardless of changing trends. A woman who understands the dignity given to her by Allah does not feel the need to lower her standards to fit into expectations that ignore her true worth. Recognizing this honor encourages both men and women to treat each other with sincerity and fairness. It reminds society that respect is not simply a social preference but a moral responsibility. When dignity becomes part of everyday interactions, relationships become healthier and communities become stronger. This is part of the beauty of the guidance given within Islam. Guidance that protects the emotional well-being of individuals and promotes balance in society. 3. A woman's heart is valuable, my dear sisters and brothers. The heart of a woman is not something ordinary. It is not something cheap that can be given to anyone who shows temporary attention. A woman's heart carries sincerity, loyalty, compassion, and emotional depth that cannot be easily replaced. When a woman cares, she does not care lightly. She gives her time, her energy, and often her peace of mind for the sake of those she loves. This is why her heart should never be treated as something insignificant. Allah has created the heart as a place of emotions, intentions, and connections. A sincere heart desires goodness, values honesty, and seeks stability. A woman often invests deeply in relationships because she hopes to build something meaningful and lasting. She does not always seek perfection, but she seeks sincerity, she seeks effort, she seeks respect. Many times, a woman gives her trust with pure intentions. She hopes that her sincerity will be appreciated. She hopes that her loyalty will be valued. She hopes that her kindness will be treated with kindness in return. But unfortunately, not everyone understands the depth of a sincere heart. Some people take advantage of kindness because they assume patience means weakness. Kindness is not weakness. Loyalty is not weakness. Caring deeply is not weakness. These qualities are rare, and anything rare has value. A woman's heart often carries many responsibilities at the same time. She worries about the well-being of people she loves. She thinks about the future. She remembers small details that others forget. She tries to maintain peace even when she is facing internal struggles. Many times she hides her own pain so that others feel comfortable. She remains strong outwardly even when she feels emotionally tired inside, because her heart carries so much, it deserves protection. Not everyone deserves access to her emotions. Not everyone deserves her trust. Trust is something that should be given carefully, because once trust is broken, it can leave deep wounds. A sincere woman does not easily forget how she was treated. Words may be forgotten, but the feeling created by those words often remains. Respect leaves a positive impact, while disrespect leaves emotional distance. This is why treating a woman's heart with care is extremely important. A woman who understands her value does not allow people to continuously hurt her while expecting her to remain silent. She understands that protecting her peace is part of respecting herself. She understands that constantly tolerating disrespect can damage emotional well-being. There is a difference between patience and accepting harm repeatedly. Patience means maintaining good character during difficulty, but it does not mean allowing others to treat you without dignity. A woman's heart should not feel forced to beg for appreciation. Appreciation should come naturally in healthy relationships. Effort should be recognized. Kindness should be acknowledged. Emotional support should be mutual. When a woman feels safe emotionally, she flourishes. She becomes more confident. She becomes more positive. She becomes more peaceful. But when her sincerity is repeatedly ignored, she may begin to feel emotionally distant. This distance is often not created suddenly. It is created slowly through repeated disappointment. Many people do not realize that emotional wounds are sometimes deeper than physical wounds. Emotional pain is not always visible, but its effects can remain for a long time. This is why protecting hearts is important. A wise woman does not give unlimited chances to those who repeatedly show carelessness. She understands that her heart is an amana, a trust that should not be placed in situations that continuously damage her peace. She becomes more careful about where she invests her emotions because she realizes that emotional energy is valuable. A sincere woman also learns balance. She learns that caring for others should not mean neglecting herself. She learns that supporting others should not mean losing her own stability. Self-respect and kindness can exist together. When a woman respects herself, she naturally teaches others how to treat her. When she values her time, others learn to value it as well. When she protects her emotional boundaries, she reduces the chances of being taken for granted. A woman's heart has the ability to create warmth in relationships, but it should not be expected to carry unlimited emotional burdens alone. Healthy relationships involve mutual care, mutual respect, and mutual effort. It is important to remember that emotional sensitivity is not a flaw. Emotional awareness allows deeper understanding of situations. It allows empathy. It allows connection. These qualities contribute to stronger relationships when they are appreciated. A woman's heart is valuable because it is sincere. It seeks stability, not chaos. It seeks honesty, not confusion. It seeks respect, not neglect. When sincerity is treated with appreciation, relationships become stronger. When sincerity is ignored, distance grows. Protecting emotional well-being is not selfish, it is necessary. A peaceful heart allows a person to function positively in daily life. It allows clarity in decision-making. It allows stability in behavior. A woman who protects her heart does not become cold, she becomes wise. She becomes more aware of where to invest her emotions and where to step back. Wisdom allows her to recognize situations that bring peace and situations that create harm. Never underestimate the importance of emotional well-being. A peaceful heart contributes to a peaceful life. A heart filled with constant stress struggles to find comfort. A woman's heart is valuable not because of temporary attention from people, but because sincerity itself has value. Loyalty has value. Honesty has value. Patience has value. These qualities should be appreciated, not misused. When a woman understands the value of her heart, she becomes more careful with her trust. She becomes more confident in her decisions. She becomes more selective about who deserves her emotional investment. This awareness helps her maintain dignity without losing kindness. It helps her remain compassionate without becoming vulnerable to repeated harm. A sincere heart is a blessing. Protecting it is part of respecting the gift given by Allah. When emotional well-being is preserved, inner peace becomes easier to maintain. When inner peace is maintained, clarity and confidence increase. A woman's heart is valuable because it carries sincerity, patience and care that cannot be measured easily. Appreciating this value leads to healthier relationships and a more peaceful life. 4. A woman who knows her worth does not seek validation. My dear sisters and brothers, one of the greatest forms of emotional freedom is when a woman truly understands her worth. When a woman recognizes the value Allah has already placed within her, she no longer feels the need to constantly search for approval from people. She no longer feels the pressure to prove herself to those who are determined not to understand her. She begins to realize that her dignity is not something that should depend on opinions that change from person to person. Seeking validation can slowly exhaust the heart. When a person continuously looks for appreciation from others, they begin to shape their actions according to people's expectations rather than according to what is right and meaningful. A woman may begin to question herself unnecessarily. She may feel that she is not good enough simply because someone failed to recognize her effort. She may feel the need to constantly explain her intentions, justify her decisions, or defend her character. But a woman who understands her worth does not live in this cycle of constant doubt. She understands that people's opinions are not always accurate reflections of reality. Some people judge based on assumptions. Some people misunderstand situations. Some people fail to appreciate sincerity simply because they are not sincere themselves. If a woman keeps adjusting her value based on every opinion she hears, she will never feel settled internally. There will always be someone who approves and someone who criticizes. There will always be someone who appreciates and someone who overlooks effort. This is part of human nature. A confident woman understands that not everyone will see her the same way, and she accepts this without allowing it to reduce her self-respect. She focuses on living with honesty, integrity, and dignity rather than living in constant fear of judgment. When a woman does not know her worth, she may begin to tolerate situations that slowly weaken her emotional well-being. She may accept disrespect because she fears losing people. She may remain silent when she should speak because she worries about disappointing others. She may try to please everyone even when it causes internal stress. However, pleasing everyone is impossible. No matter what a person does, there will always be differing opinions. This is why a woman who understands her worth focuses on maintaining her principles rather than constantly changing herself to satisfy others. Knowing your worth does not mean becoming arrogant. It does not mean thinking you are better than others. It means recognizing that your dignity should not be compromised for temporary acceptance. It means understanding that respect begins with self-respect. When a woman respects herself, she naturally becomes more careful about the environments she chooses and the people she allows close to her life. She does not feel the need to chase attention because she understands that attention does not always equal respect. Some attention is temporary and superficial, while true respect is consistent and sincere. A woman who knows her worth values peace more than popularity. She prefers calm stability over constant drama. She understands that emotional peace is more valuable than temporary validation. Many people mistakenly believe that confidence comes from external praise. In reality, confidence comes from internal clarity. It comes from knowing that you are trying your best to live with sincerity and good character. When a woman understands that her worth is not defined by how many people approve of her, she becomes less affected by criticism that is unfair. She listens to beneficial advice, but she does not allow harsh opinions to define her identity. She becomes emotionally stronger because she no longer measures herself through unrealistic expectations created by others. She understands that perfection is not possible and that growth takes time. A woman who knows her worth does not feel the need to constantly explain her value. She does not feel the need to convince others to appreciate her. She allows her character to speak for itself. Silence can sometimes protect dignity. Not every misunderstanding needs lengthy explanation. Not every criticism requires response. Sometimes maintaining composure is more powerful than trying to correct every negative perception. When a woman becomes comfortable with who she is, she no longer feels pressured to imitate others. She does not feel the need to change her identity just to fit into environments that do not align with her values. She focuses on improving herself gradually without comparing her journey to others. Comparison often leads to unnecessary dissatisfaction. Every individual has a unique path, unique challenges, and unique strengths. Understanding self-worth allows a woman to develop emotional independence. Emotional independence does not mean isolation, it means stability. It means her sense of value does not collapse simply because someone fails to acknowledge her effort. A woman who knows her worth understands that respect should not feel forced. Respect should be natural in healthy relationships. Effort should be mutual, not one-sided. She also becomes more aware of how she invests her time and emotional energy. She becomes more selective about where she gives her attention. She begins to realize that constantly giving attention to those who do not appreciate it can lead to emotional exhaustion. Protecting emotional energy allows her to focus on growth, learning, and maintaining inner peace. When emotional energy is used wisely, a person becomes more productive and more content. Self-worth also encourages a woman to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not signs of distance, they are signs of self-respect. Boundaries help maintain balance in relationships and prevent repeated misunderstandings. When boundaries exist, communication becomes clearer and expectations become more realistic. This reduces unnecessary disappointment and emotional confusion. A woman who knows her worth also understands that she does not need to compete for acceptance. She does not need to constantly prove that she deserves respect. She understands that those who truly value her will not make her feel unworthy. This understanding reduces anxiety and allows her to live with more calmness. She becomes less distracted by opinions that do not contribute to her growth. True confidence comes from knowing that your value is not dependent on people's temporary approval. People's opinions often change based on circumstances, but dignity remains constant when it is rooted in sincerity. When a woman lives with dignity, she becomes an example of emotional strength. She shows that it is possible to remain kind without becoming dependent on praise. She shows that it is possible to remain humble without losing confidence. Knowing your worth helps you avoid environments where you are repeatedly made to feel small. It encourages you to seek relationships where mutual respect exists. A woman who understands her worth does not need to seek validation because she already understands that her dignity is not negotiable. She does not allow temporary approval to determine her long-term self-perception. This awareness creates stability in behavior, clarity in decision-making, and peace in the heart. Living with self-respect allows a woman to grow without unnecessary emotional pressure. It allows her to maintain kindness without losing confidence. It allows her to remain sincere without becoming dependent on constant reassurance. When a woman understands that her worth is already established, she becomes more focused on living a life that aligns with her values rather than a life that constantly seeks external approval. And when dignity becomes stronger than the need for validation, inner peace becomes easier to maintain. 5. Modesty is a source of strength, my dear brothers and sisters. In today's world, modesty is often misunderstood. Some people think modesty limits a woman, while others think modesty prevents success or confidence. But when we reflect deeply, we realize that modesty is not a weakness. Modesty is a form of inner strength. Modesty is a sign of self-respect. Modesty is a decision to protect dignity rather than expose it for temporary approval. True modesty is not only about appearance, it is also about attitude, speech, behavior, and the way a person values themselves. A modest woman does not reduce her worth to gain attention. She does not feel the need to expose every part of her life for the sake of validation. She understands that what is valuable is protected, not displayed carelessly. Think about the most precious things in life. Valuable items are protected carefully. They are not placed in situations where they can be damaged easily. They are preserved because they carry importance. In the same way, modesty protects emotional well-being and personal dignity. A woman who values modesty does not feel pressured to follow every trend simply to fit in. She does not feel the need to compromise her values for temporary acceptance. She understands that trends change quickly, but dignity remains constant. Modesty allows a woman to maintain control over her life choices. She does not allow society to dictate her worth based on unrealistic standards. She does not feel the need to constantly compete for attention. She focuses on building qualities that create long-term respect rather than short-term admiration. Many people associate strength with loudness, boldness, or constant visibility. However, real strength often exists in quiet confidence. Real strength exists in the ability to remain firm upon values even when external pressure encourages compromise. A modest woman carries herself with dignity. Her confidence does not come from constant attention. Her confidence comes from knowing that her value is not dependent on temporary approval. Modesty also protects emotional peace. When a person constantly seeks attention, they often become affected by both praise and criticism. Praise can create unrealistic expectations, while criticism can cause unnecessary emotional distress. However, when modesty becomes part of one's personality, there is less dependence on external opinions. A modest person focuses more on personal growth, sincerity, and meaningful actions rather than constant comparison. Comparison often leads to dissatisfaction. When a person constantly compares their appearance, lifestyle, or achievements with others, they may begin to feel inadequate even when they are doing well. Modesty helps reduce this comparison because it encourages contentment and self-acceptance. A modest woman understands that respect is more valuable than attention. Attention can be temporary, but respect creates stability in relationships and environments. Respect encourages others to treat a person with seriousness and sincerity. Modesty also encourages thoughtful behavior. It reminds a person to choose words carefully, to act responsibly, and to maintain balance in interactions. This balance reduces misunderstandings and helps maintain positive relationships. A modest person does not feel the need to reveal everything about their life. Privacy can be a source of peace. Not every achievement needs public display, and not every difficulty needs public explanation. Protecting privacy helps maintain emotional stability. When too much personal information becomes public, it can sometimes create unnecessary pressure or unwanted opinions. Modesty encourages maintaining healthy boundaries that protect mental well-being. Modesty does not prevent success. Many successful individuals maintain modesty while achieving great accomplishments. Their confidence comes from discipline, consistency, and focus rather than constant exposure. A modest woman can be educated, confident, and capable while still maintaining dignity. Modesty does not reduce intelligence. Modesty does not reduce ambition. Modesty simply adds balance to personality. Balance is important in every aspect of life. Excess in any direction can create problems. Modesty helps maintain equilibrium between self-expression and self-protection. A woman who practices modesty demonstrates that strength does not require constant visibility. She shows that confidence does not require constant approval. She shows that dignity does not require compromise. Modesty also encourages sincerity. When a person is not focused on gaining attention, they become more focused on meaningful goals. They invest time in learning, improving skills, and strengthening character. Character has a lasting impact. Appearance changes over time, trends change over time, but character continues to influence relationships and opportunities. A modest woman builds her identity on values that remain stable even when circumstances change. She does not feel lost when trends shift because her sense of self is not dependent on external standards. Modesty also protects a person from unnecessary pressure. When someone constantly tries to meet unrealistic expectations, they may feel exhausted emotionally. Modesty removes this pressure by encouraging simplicity and authenticity. Authenticity creates peace because a person does not feel the need to pretend or perform for acceptance. They feel comfortable being themselves while maintaining dignity. A modest woman understands that respect begins from within. When she respects herself, others learn how to treat her accordingly. When she values her dignity, she reduces the likelihood of being treated carelessly. Self-respect influences decisions. It influences friendships. It influences communication. It influences the environments a person chooses. Modesty helps a woman remain focused on what truly matters. Instead of becoming distracted by temporary attention, she invests energy in personal growth, knowledge, and emotional stability. Emotional stability allows clearer thinking. Clear thinking allows better decisions. Better decisions create better outcomes. A modest woman does not feel pressured to constantly prove her value. She understands that true value becomes visible through consistent behavior over time. People may forget appearances, but they remember character. They remember kindness. They remember honesty. They remember integrity. Modesty supports these qualities by encouraging sincerity rather than performance. Strength is not always loud. Strength is often calm, patient, and consistent. A woman who maintains modesty shows that she does not need constant validation to feel secure. She shows that confidence can exist alongside humility. Humility does not reduce value, it enhances respect. People appreciate those who remain grounded despite their strengths. Modesty also protects emotional boundaries. It prevents unnecessary involvement in situations that create stress or discomfort. It encourages choosing environments that support well-being rather than disturb it. Peace of mind is valuable. A peaceful mind allows productivity, creativity, and positivity. A disturbed mind struggles to focus on growth. A modest woman prioritizes peace over pressure. She prioritizes dignity over temporary approval. She understands that her value does not increase because of attention, and her value does not decrease because of lack of attention. Her worth remains constant because it is based on qualities that cannot be easily measured by external standards. Modesty reminds a person that self-respect should never be compromised for temporary trends. It encourages maintaining principles even when doing so feels difficult. Difficulty often strengthens character. Maintaining values during challenging situations builds resilience. Resilience allows a person to remain stable even when facing criticism or misunderstanding. A modest woman becomes an example of balanced confidence. She demonstrates that it is possible to remain strong without losing humility. She demonstrates that dignity and success can exist together. Modesty is not limitation, it is protection. Modesty is not weakness, it is discipline. Modesty is not silence, it is thoughtful expression. When modesty becomes part of personality, it creates consistency in behavior and clarity in priorities. Clarity reduces confusion. Clear priorities help a person focus on meaningful goals rather than temporary distractions. A modest woman does not feel the need to constantly adjust herself to fit expectations that do not align with her values. She remains steady, confident, and self-aware. Her strength comes from stability, not from approval. Her dignity comes from self-respect, not from attention. Her confidence comes from clarity, not from comparison. When modesty is understood correctly, it becomes a source of empowerment rather than restriction. It allows a woman to live with balance, maintain emotional peace, and protect the honor that Allah has already given her. And when dignity is protected, peace naturally follows. 6. A righteous woman shapes generations. My dear brothers and sisters, the influence of a righteous woman is far greater than what can be seen on the surface. Her role is not limited to a moment, a phase, or a single responsibility. Her impact extends far beyond what people immediately recognize. A sincere woman does not only build her own life, she contributes to shaping the lives of many others around her. Through her patience, her wisdom, and her character, she leaves effects that continue long after individual moments pass. A righteous woman understands that her actions carry weight. Every word she speaks, every decision she makes, and every value she practices creates an environment that influences others. Whether she realizes it or not, people observe her strength, her patience, and her sincerity. Her character becomes a silent lesson that others learn from. A woman who lives with sincerity contributes to emotional stability within families. She encourages understanding during conflict. She encourages patience during difficulty. She encourages kindness when situations become tense. Her presence often creates balance because she approaches challenges with care and thoughtfulness. When difficulties arise, a sincere woman does not rush to create more chaos. She attempts to find solutions that bring calmness. She reflects before reacting. She considers long-term effects before making decisions. This thoughtful approach helps prevent small problems from becoming larger conflicts. A righteous woman also understands the importance of values. She understands that success is not only measured through material achievements but also through character, honesty, and responsibility. She tries to maintain consistency in her behavior so that her actions align with her principles. Consistency builds trust. When people observe reliability in behavior, they feel secure, they feel comfortable, they feel respected. Trust strengthens relationships and creates cooperation between individuals. A woman who demonstrates patience during difficult times becomes a source of emotional support for those around her. Her calmness allows others to think clearly. Her stability allows others to feel reassured. When children grow in an environment where patience, kindness, and sincerity are practiced regularly, they are more likely to adopt similar values. They observe how conflicts are handled. They observe how respect is shown. They observe how challenges are approached. Children often learn more from behavior than from instruction. They notice reactions. They notice tone, they notice priorities, they absorb patterns of communication and apply them later in their own lives. A righteous woman understands that small actions repeated consistently can have lasting effects. A kind word, a calm response, and a thoughtful decision may appear simple, but repeated over time, they shape habits and expectations. Habits shape personality. Personality influences decisions. Decisions influence outcomes. In this way, the presence of a sincere woman contributes to the development of balanced individuals who are able to manage emotions responsibly. A righteous woman also recognizes the importance of knowledge. She values learning because knowledge helps improve judgment and understanding. When a person continues to learn, they become more aware of different perspectives and better equipped to handle challenges. Learning encourages growth. Growth encourages improvement. Improvement encourages confidence. Confidence built on knowledge and experience creates stability. Stability helps individuals remain composed during uncertainty. A woman who continues to develop her understanding becomes more capable of guiding others with wisdom. She is able to recognize the difference between temporary emotions and long-term consequences. She does not allow anger to dictate her behavior. She does not allow frustration to create unnecessary harm. She considers the bigger picture and aims to protect relationships rather than damage them. Protecting relationships requires effort. It requires communication, patience, and compromise. A righteous woman understands the importance of maintaining balance between expressing concerns and preserving respect. Respectful communication reduces misunderstandings. Clear communication allows expectations to become realistic. Realistic expectations prevent disappointment. When expectations are balanced, relationships become healthier. When relationships are healthier, emotional stress decreases. Reduced stress allows individuals to focus on productivity, creativity, and personal development. A righteous woman contributes to this positive environment by maintaining awareness of how her actions influence others. She understands that negativity spreads quickly, but positivity also spreads quickly. Choosing calmness instead of anger, choosing understanding instead of judgment, and choosing patience instead of reaction can influence others to behave similarly. Influence does not always require authority. Influence often comes from consistency and sincerity. A person who demonstrates reliability, becomes someone others trust. Trust allows guidance to be accepted more easily. A righteous woman also recognizes the importance of self-discipline. Self-discipline helps maintain stability in behavior. It prevents impulsive decisions that may cause regret later. Self-discipline supports emotional control. Emotional control allows thoughtful responses rather than harmful reactions. When emotional control becomes stronger, conflicts become easier to resolve peacefully. Peaceful resolution of conflicts protects relationships from unnecessary damage. A righteous woman contributes to peaceful environments by choosing words carefully and considering the emotional impact of communication. Words can either strengthen relationships or weaken them. Words can create comfort or create tension. Thoughtful speech reduces the chances of misunderstanding and helps maintain mutual respect. A righteous woman also understands the value of sincerity in intentions. Sincere intentions encourage consistent effort even when recognition is limited. Recognition from people may not always occur, but sincere effort still produces positive results over time. Positive results may appear gradually, but gradual progress often leads to long-term stability. A woman who maintains sincerity becomes an example of perseverance. Perseverance encourages resilience in those who observe her. Resilience helps individuals manage disappointment without losing motivation. Motivation encourages continued effort toward improvement. Improvement creates opportunities for growth and achievement. A righteous woman contributes to this cycle of growth by maintaining focus on meaningful goals rather than temporary distractions. Temporary distractions may provide short-term satisfaction but rarely produce lasting benefits. Meaningful goals require patience, consistency, and discipline. A woman who remains committed to meaningful goals demonstrates the importance of prioritizing long-term benefits over short-term comfort. This perspective encourages responsible decision-making and thoughtful planning. Thoughtful planning reduces unnecessary risks and increases the likelihood of positive outcomes. A righteous woman also recognizes the importance of balance between giving and preserving personal well-being. Supporting others is important, but maintaining personal stability is also necessary. When personal stability is maintained, the ability to support others becomes stronger. Emotional exhaustion reduces effectiveness. Emotional balance increases effectiveness. Maintaining balance requires awareness of limits and understanding the importance of rest and reflection. Reflection encourages learning from experience. Learning from experience prevents repetition of harmful patterns. Breaking harmful patterns contributes to healthier environments for future generations. Future generations benefit from improved communication, stronger emotional intelligence, and clearer understanding of responsibilities. A righteous woman plays a role in establishing these improvements by practicing sincerity consistently. Her efforts may not always receive immediate recognition, but the effects of her character continue to influence others over time. Positive influence extends beyond immediate surroundings. It contributes to communities that value cooperation, fairness, and responsibility. Communities built on these values become more stable and supportive. Supportive environments encourage individuals to pursue goals confidently. Confidence encourages creativity and innovation. Innovation contributes to progress and development. In this way, the sincerity of one individual can contribute to improvement in many areas of life. A righteous woman does not need to seek attention to create impact. Her impact becomes visible through the consistency of her behavior. Consistency builds reliability. Reliability builds trust. Trust builds cooperation. Cooperation strengthens relationships and encourages mutual growth. Mutual growth leads to shared success. A righteous woman contributes to shared success by encouraging positive values and demonstrating them through her actions. Her influence may begin within a small circle, but its effects extend far beyond that circle over time. Understanding the importance of character encourages individuals to invest effort in personal development. Personal development strengthens emotional intelligence and improves decision making. Improved decision making creates more stable outcomes and reduces unnecessary regret. A righteous woman who remains committed to sincerity contributes to this positive cycle. Her actions create patterns that others observe and adopt. These patterns influence behavior across time and contribute to shaping future environments. A sincere woman shapes generations not through force, but through example. Example creates learning without pressure. Learning without pressure encourages genuine acceptance of positive values. Genuine acceptance leads to long-lasting change. Long-lasting change creates lasting benefit. Benefit extends beyond individuals and contributes to the well-being of society as a whole. This demonstrates the significance of sincerity in daily actions. Even small acts of patience, kindness, and responsibility contribute to meaningful results when practiced consistently. A righteous woman recognizes the importance of small efforts and does not underestimate their value. Small improvements accumulate and create significant progress over time. Progress strengthens confidence and encourages continued effort. Continued effort creates further improvement. In this way, the actions of a sincere woman contribute to continuous positive development. Her influence becomes part of a chain of improvement that extends through future generations. Understanding this responsibility encourages careful decision-making and thoughtful behavior. Thoughtful behavior reduces harm and increases benefit. Increased benefit contributes to stability and growth. Growth encourages further improvement and strengthens positive environments. A righteous woman contributes to these positive environments by maintaining sincerity, patience, and consistency in her actions. Her character becomes a foundation upon which others build their understanding of responsibility and cooperation. Through sincerity, stability is created. Through stability, growth is encouraged. Through growth, positive change continues. And this is how a righteous woman shapes generations through consistent dedication to values that create long-term benefit. My dear sisters and brothers, never forget that the value of a woman is not defined by trends, opinions, or temporary standards created by society. Her worth is not measured by how much attention she receives, nor by how much approval she gains from people. Her true value lies in the dignity, sincerity, and strength that Allah has placed within her. A woman who protects her heart protects her peace. A woman who respects herself teaches others how to respect her. A woman who remains sincere, patient, and strong builds a legacy that reaches far beyond what can be seen. Always remember, what is truly precious is never treated carelessly. It is honored. It is protected. It is valued. A woman who understands her worth does not need to chase validation because she knows that her dignity is already established. She does not reduce herself to gain acceptance because she knows that true respect never requires compromise of character. When a woman lives with dignity, she brings stability to relationships, wisdom to decisions, and calmness to difficult situations. Her strength may not always be loud, but its impact is deep and lasting. May every woman remember her value. May every heart learn to appreciate sincerity. May respect, kindness, and understanding increase in our relationships. And may we all learn to treat one another with the dignity that creates peace, stability, and goodness in this life and beyond. Because when dignity is protected, hearts find peace. And when hearts find peace, lives begin to change.